It's always tough to do historical context for a prophetic document because you ask, do we look most at the years right before or do we look at the decades ahead? How does that go? In my research, I started kind of mapping out what's average age of marriage, what's the percent of people who are able to get married, and the 1990s is at the beginning of this just really unprecedented curve where it is harder starting in that decade, but really from a social science perspective, you don't appreciate the degree until more recently. We have to look back, but it feels like prophets were looking forward.
The trend maybe
and
started.
can see, even from, they were feeling something,
Okay.
but what we've seen is it's harder to take for granted that people are gonna form a family, right? And so I think they were really concerned with how do we make sure that we still have a culture that values this, where it feels like marriage is possible and supported, where it feels like childbearing is possible and supported. And I think that's part of the context here. And a lot of people have sort of viewed this proclamation specifically through the lens of like debates over same-sex marriage and gender identity. And I think absolutely that that's part of the context. I don't think that's the whole context. Okay. The prophets and apostles, as they looked at family and had this feeling about what are the possible futures of family, if we think of them as expressing some concern about how do we be careful in the ways we're going to change things, looking a few hundred years into the future, and that sort of note of how do we make sure that we're in our eagerness to make positive change, that we're not letting things fall between the cracks.